major natural gas leak going on that they had to address. They had to literally scour the buildings and listen for voices, holler if they could hear anything. The Burley stabilization got hit real hard. And then that's not including the subdivisions, which would have been around Circle Drive, the Skyview, Rudolph, Brent Lawn areas. So they sent another fire company, over in that neighborhood to start assessing the situation there as well. Chief Bowen, he is assistant chief with the Springfield Fire Department. He arrived on scene. He, at that time, took command over because, it was a higher power, if you will. And we stayed at the command post, which was literally at Brent Lawn and Memorial, doing resource allocations, starting to get a handle on things. At that time, the city of Springfield elected to open up the Emergency Operations Center at City Hall. My agency called in our district coordinator with the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency. That's our partners. Because you have local EMA, state, and federal. By the time this tornado is over with, we will have had federal emergency, FEMA will be involved in this as well. But either way, so we transitioned over to the city's EOC, Emergency Operations Center at City Hall, and started working this from a broader perspective. But initially, Brent Lawn and Memorial is where the chief, the EMS chief, EMA started to work this rescue.
It's incredible. And we're talking, if you're just joining us, this is 1100 WSGI. Again, just trying to get everything as back to normal as we can, as quickly as we can. And so thankful that our Director of Emergency Management, Chance Holmes, is here to kind of unpack it for us. We have fixed the issue, so we do have a good Facebook line going into WSGI. Thank you, Ilya Maldonado. He got on there and fixed it remotely. I was sitting here watching him, so we've got this working well now for us. But we're going to continue our conversation. If you have any questions, this is the time to put them up. You can put them up either on my social media or you can go to the WSGI page. I have shared that as well. I wanted to give a shout out to Trent Cobb. I think he is watching. I saw where the fair board came in and set up food for all the emergency management, did it all day. So Trent, please, I'm putting it on your calendar to come in and kind of update us on all that Wednesday. I've been going to reach out to you today. So if you're available, Trent, I'd love to have you come in here and just talk about the fair board's involvement. And I just love our community. Oh, my goodness. I mean, what an amazing place. We just are so blessed.
Yes, ma'am.
So you said that y'all set up your command where? Where was your command?
At the corner of Brent Lawn and Memorial.
Okay.
So that's kind of directly across the street from the Kroger, the St. Thomas Ascension Healthcare, AT&T. That's where we initially, in the initial phase, you set your command post up is as close to the site. But as it starts to unfold and you have more resources coming in, then you can kind of break away and go to an emergency operations center to where you can do a collaborative effort with other department heads. Like we had to have public works involved. We had to have gas department, water. So you bring in those department heads so we can start coordinating resources to start addressing the problems that we have.
Right. And it's just amazing. Now, how many, we heard that there were something like 13 tornadoes in the vicinity. How many actually touched down in Springfield?
In Springfield, we had one touchdown, but there are video of like two tornadoes together.
Right.
But we just had the one touchdown in Springfield.
Okay, that was right there in front of Kroger.
Right.
And so how many businesses were, do you think, a complete loss?
I don't have that total right now in my head. I know there are several. I mean, I could probably name them all off, right. But, the Springfield Fire Department Station 2 took a hit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, Springfield Fire Station 2 did take a hit there on Bradley Drive. The businesses down through Bradley Drive are hit hard. The Red River Church, yeah.
I heard they lost their roof.
They lost, I was there yesterday, lost their roof. And then, of course, all the damage that's there around the Kroger area. And then you start going out by Circle Drive, Skyview, Rudolph, getting, Tanglewood. You start getting down in there. There's a lot of damage to homes. And when I say a lot of damage, there's nothing leveled, but, windows busted out, roofs gone, holes in roofs, trees through the roof. So, they're all been impacted. A lot of trees down. A lot of people yesterday were cutting up, trees and removing debris, getting it up towards the road and stuff like that. So, but it was several businesses hit for sure.
Yeah, and I mean the ones that just come to mind. I know, of course, Holman's and Jets and Valvoline
and the dental office,
and then of course the emergency care, the all those places right there in that little strip mall. I think that strip mall is pretty much done.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking in the Valvoline. Well, and I saw that I saw some twisted up gas pumps too right there in front of Kroger.
Yes, ma'am, you did. Yeah. You sure did. Mm-hmm.
That's got to be. I mean, think about that. Did we ever have any fuel spewing, or did it?
No. Only spewing we had was that of the natural gas from Jet's Pizza. I think the Valvoline kind of lost some oil and some other stuff, but they've got a hazardous materials company coming in to mitigate that. I did that night, December 9th, I did smell some fuel at Kroger's, but I just think that's where the pumps were twisted and broke off, and it might have been a little residual. I didn't see any ponding of fuel or anything like that, but
it's just amazing. As I saw pictures and images coming in, I just you could all imagine the kind of things that we'd be dealing with. I keep thinking back. One of my students works right there at that tidal wave,
right?
And I'm anxious to talk to him to see, because I feel like he was probably there, and I just wonder what they did. Do you know where did the rest of those people take refuge?
I know the folks from Jet's Pizza went inside Kroger's, and of course Valvoline, they hunkered down.
That's just brilliant. Yeah, that they got in that pit.
Very. I don't know about the folks from AT&T. I didn't talk. I've not talked to them. I've not talked to them.
The stories that we'll hear, and hearing from the Holmans, I know I think they said they were trying to get in the vault,
right?
And that kind of thing, and so it's just a miracle of God we didn't have anybody killed.
Agreed.
Just a miracle of God, and just so thankful. I'm a member of the Madison Church of Christ, and that was the command center for all that was happening over on Nesbeth, where they had the loss of life. And,
right.
It just, when you see this kind of stuff, that makes you just so proud of your neighborhoods whenever you see everybody just come together and get it done. And again, Trent Cobb, I see you on here. I'd love to have you on Wednesday to talk about the fair board and what y'all did to coordinate everything out there to feed our emergency responders. And this is going to be ongoing. I mean, what can we expect as far as today? What is the expectations today as far as street closures? Do you have a list of street closures and those kinds of things?
Well, so today's project that we're working with the city is, as of last night on social media, they started to roll out their debris management plan for the citizens of the affected area. Mm-hmm. Okay. So what the citizens need to be doing in the affected area today and tomorrow is get on social media, whether it's the Robertson County Emergency Management Agency's Facebook page, the City of Springfield's Facebook page, their city page, and it explains to you kind of how to do the debris management. Because Wednesday and Thursday, they're going to be bringing in a lot of resources, trucks. When I say trucks, tri-axle, tandem axle dump trucks, knuckle boom devices that can, like a claw truck. Right. So that's going to be going on Wednesday. Wednesday and Thursday is going to be the collection. Okay. But today, citizens of the affected area needs to be getting that debris up, which brings me to a good point. We've had a lot of questions about volunteers and how can we help and what can we do. Starting today, if volunteers want to go into the affected area and meet up with the homeowner and say, hey, look, I've got my work gloves with me. Is there any way I can help you gather up this, trees and limbs and vegetation or help you separate the aluminum or the steel or the brick and mortar, because it's got to be separated. Now and tomorrow would be a real good time to kind of lend that neighbor helping neighbor if we could do that.
Okay. So who do they need to contact?
Well, they just need to kind of go to the affected area and speak with a homeowner. So just go to the affected area. Just drive in, talk to a homeowner, say, look, I'm here to help. Right. Can I help you? Yes. Can I help you? And if they say yes, that'd be great. Then they've got them something to do.
Okay. Well, and I saw a lot of people out doing that yesterday.
Right.
As much as that could be available, because some of the areas, that's what something, with my experiences in Mayfield, there's just so much that has to be discerned before you can really start. Because you have, when it comes to insurance and FEMA and dealing with all that, they have to document.
That's right.
What's going on before you undo it, and a lot of people don't realize that. And that's just, it's so important, guys. Take pictures, so you can say, this is what we were dealing with.
And we did that all day yesterday. Right. We went around and done what we call damage assessment.
Okay.
Because the city of Springfield did do a declaration, a disaster declaration that's been sent in to the state. It'll be sent in to the federal level. But the Tennessee Emergency Management Agency, the Robertson County Emergency Management Agency, and leaders from the city of Springfield, we all went door to door, business to business, photographing every affected home, a 360.
Okay. That's wonderful. So
that way we can tap into the SBA small business loan, the PA, which is the personal assistance. So that way we can get our numbers up to where we can meet the threshold for the state to be able to have a declared disaster. So you got to get those numbers first. So that's why that damage assessment is very important. And that's why you want to get those photos within the first 12 to 48 or 12 to 24 hours. So that way it paints the picture of what the disaster looked like before, people start getting in there and moving and cleaning up. And so we spent all day long yesterday doing damage assessment.
And that's one of the things, guys, we live in a tornado area. I've had people that moved into this area and they're like, this is freaky, because they're not used to tornadoes. And keep in mind what he just said for when it happens again, because if you are affected, you do need to make sure and document as much as you can prior to removing. You just really need to keep that in mind. There's so many things. If you have any questions at all, for our county emergency management director for Robertson County, this is Director Chance Holmes. I'm going to have him unpack his work history just so you know who he is and a little bit more about him. I told him when he sat down, I said, we're just on the porch talking, but I do need to we need to talk. I've got a couple of spots that I need to do, a couple of breaks we need to do. And first, we're going to start with Cumberland Connect because of their connection to Cumberland Electric. And I saw something that popped up on social media yesterday that our hero linemen are not on the football field. They're up working on these lines. And I cannot say enough about the people who take care of the electrical power. We're dependent upon what we do with electricity. You think about refrigerators and freezers and things like that can spoil food, and how quickly we need to get our electric up because we're so dependent upon it. So I just want to say thank you to, all of the folks from the City Electric, from the Cumberland Electric, and all those that came in to help and are continuing to work to get the power restored to the affected areas. But we also want to give great accolades, to Cumberland Connect, which is powered by Cumberland Electric and sponsors this program. The high-speed internet that we have and the way that we stay connected, sometimes even in storms, is amazing because we do have this wonderful connection with Cumberland Connect. And if you're wondering, are they in your neighborhood? odds are they probably are. They're getting to the point where they're just about got everybody connected. And if you are a Cumberland Electric customer, you're going to have access to Cumberland Connect and high-speed internet. You could get a gig for just $80. And if that sounds like, wow, that's a lot of money. Well, if you're somebody that's struggling financially, you can apply for the Affordable Connectivity Program, which provides qualifying households with up to $30 per month for high-speed internet and for broadband services, and they have packages starting at just $30 per month. So check them out. You can give them a call at 800-987-2362, 1-800-987-2362, or you can go to cumberlandconnect.org, cumberlandconnect.org, and see what's going on in your neighborhood. And again, praise you for all these linemen out there that are doing the work to keep us connected and just working so hard during things like what happened yesterday. We appreciate you. And when you talk to them at Cumberland Connect, make sure you let them know U-Turn sent you. We are talking with our emergency management director. This is Chance Holmes. And tell us a little bit about your background. You were telling me before we went on the air. You've been at this a while.
Yes, ma'am. So I started right out of high school as a volunteer in 1997 with the Greenbrier Volunteer Fire Department. 2 years later, I applied at the city of Springfield. I got hired on with them in 2000. So I spent 17 years as a career firefighter for the city of Springfield. A good 17 years with the city of Springfield. In 2017, I transitioned from a firefighter to the Deputy Director for Robertson County Emergency Management Agency under R.L. Douglas's command. Mm-hmm. Director Douglas retired about 3 years later. The mayor at that time, the current mayor, I worked under Mayor Bradley for a while, and then but Mayor Billy Vogel, he asked me would I be interested in being the director for Robertson County Emergency Management Agency. I said yes, sir, I would. And been the director for the past 3 years. So altogether, just my career time, not including my volunteer there for a short bit, but just my career time, I've got 23 years in emergency services.
Wow.
And then I also, for 7 years part-time, during that 17 years, 7 of it was spent on an ambulance with Robertson County EMS. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to emergency services, as a career, I've got 23 years in it, ma'am.
Well, we appreciate you very much. Thank you. And it's good to know that background because oftentimes, we'll hear, so-and-so is this and the director, and you wonder, well, do they have the training? Yeah, I think you do.
Yes,
Thank
ma'am.
you for serving for so long and the capacity that you do. A couple of questions. Okay. One thing from Tiffany Thompson from United Way's checking in saying that United Way is joining up with Walmart. They're going to be handing out water at Walmart today from 1 to 4. So if you need water, if you're in the affected area, just go to Walmart from 1 to 4. They're going to be handing out water today and just trying to help out with the emergency services. So for people that might be just rejoining us, can you give us a recap of where we are as far as, street closures you might be aware of and the timeline on power restoration, if anybody's still out of power? Kind of give us just kind of an overview because some people may just be joining us. So let's kind of start over if you don't mind.
Okay. Little overview. So as far as road closures at this time, the only road that's affected is going to be 41 around Kroger. It's down to 1 lane there at the red light. Outside that, all other roads are open. The other question was, of course,
power.
The power. The only areas that I'm aware of that possibly do not have power might be around the Roy Pit area, which is, like the backside of Kelton. It's, where Kelton Jackson is, Brookside Point, stuff like that. Roy Pit's down there below it. To my understanding, everybody else has had power restored. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that's conclusive, but to the best of my knowledge, everybody else has power. Just that substation there on Bradley or on Kelton Jackson Road, it took a direct hit. So it took a lot of power out for a lot of folks.
Oh my goodness. And that's one of the things when you see those power stations get hit and you see the explosion.
Oh, yes. Oh, yeah.
Because we were sitting, and I want to address too, kind of our situation with my husband and I, and advise us on if what we did was the right thing to do, which you and I have talked off mic that it was. But we were sitting and watching as we pulled off and pulled up and under a bridge overpass, because we didn't know we had not been paying attention. And that's wrong. We just hadn't been paying any attention. And I saw several explosions up in the Rivergate area. And I guess it's when those tornadoes were hitting what happens when that, how big of a mess is that to clean up? I can't even imagine.
I've never cleaned up. You talk about the transformer?
Yeah, because I saw some massive explosions.
We did too. We watched it out back of our office when it was
right.
coming through, and you would see greens and blues, and when that stuff was exploding, when it was exploding.
It's crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
But that's why we'll have to get somebody from Cumberland Electric in here to kind of advise us on that, so we can kind of understand it. Because that's one thing we see that when I saw those explosions and things going off, I just can't even imagine. Right. I've been around tornadoes my entire life. I grew up here, but that's as close as I've ever got to having one just bearing down on us. Because in the situation, and I put up a video of us just sitting in the car kind of experiencing it. And the reason why I did that, guys, is because I want you to think about what would you do if you were caught outside and one's coming down and bearing down on you. My initial reaction was the wrong one, because I told my husband, I want to get off Vietnam vets. Because we are from Madison Church and we have this massive band. We need to get to the church and he's like, we don't have time. And so he pulls up on the rocks up and under. He tucked himself in just as tight as he could up under the Vietnam bypass at Center Point Road is where we rode it out.
Right.
And there were things happening that I don't have on video, but as we were sitting there kind of waiting for it to clear, I videotaped some stuff, and we had all kinds of cars up and under with us. So is that advisable? Is that your best option?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good job, honey.
When you're out there, when you're out there on the road traveling, you really don't have a lot of safe options. That's one thing you hear so much. Emergency managers or first responders, public safety officials, stay weather aware. I know, yes, the weather predictors and stuff like that aren't always accurate. So we can get a little complacent. Well, maybe, last time they really ramped it up and we didn't get nothing, and we get a little complacent. But if more folks could be weather aware, keep an eye on what's going on, and limit your travel. Kind of like, my wife had a Christmas party to go to that night with our church. I go to Parkway Baptist Church in Goulsville, and she had a Christmas party to go to, and she's conversing back and forth between me. Well, should I go? Do I need to stay home? And I'm like, you need to wait and let's see what this thing's going to do and pass through Robertson County before we make a decision. I don't want you to get out there and get caught in.
Yeah. Well, that's what happened to us. We were coming out, and again, it's one of those things, we just weren't paying attention. We had been busy went to the grandson's basketball game, and we were doing Christmas shopping. And I remember we were coming out of Sam's, and the lightning was popping. I'm like, get in the car. I don't want to be in the parking lot with the lightning. Never check the weather forecast. And we're usually better than that. We just absolutely were not paying attention. And I made a phone call to a friend of mine, and I said, hey, we're going to stop by your house on the way home. And she says, well, we're in the basement. I'm like, what are you doing in the basement? And she goes, have you not been paying attention? I said, well, apparently not. Right. And that's when we started checking and realizing that it was right on top of us. And we were just like, oh my gosh, what do we do? And I'm just so thankful for my husband's reaction. He's like, well, that's just the Lord, and just kind of put all that in place. But just a freaky situation. So now I've also heard, if you don't find yourself around a bridge overpass like we did, to get down in a ditch. What is that? I couldn't see if getting in a ditch, but what do you think about that possibility?
I've heard that. I don't know if that's an old wives' tale.
Yeah.
I've heard it, but professionally, without me actually researching it, I'm not going to recommend that.
Yeah.
I don't want to be the EMA director that recommended that
No.
and something happened. So
Sure.
I don't want to touch that one.
You just you have to pay attention, guys. My goodness, we absolutely stuck our head in the sand on Saturday. We were just not paying attention to the weather at all. And it was, if it hadn't been for that phone call to my friend, thank you, Ginger. And we're really looking at the sky. And I told my husband's from up north, and I said, this sky does not look right. And so we started checking and very quickly found out just what kind of a situation we were in, because there were several just around us. And I'm just very thankful we came out unscathed. But guys, just pay attention to the weather, especially at this time of the year.
Right.
Early December just seems to be that time between the warm and the cold. And it just wants to, because you figure the tornado in Mayfield happened, I think, on the 10th. Of December. I think yesterday was the 2-year anniversary, if I'm not mistaken, but it was right in the same, just a day or so apart from what they had happen up and I say Mayfield, but it went what did it go, like 150 miles?
Right. Yeah.
Just devastating. And so many things. We're talking with our emergency management director here in Robertson County. This is Director Chance Holmes. If you missed him just kind of giving his overview of his qualifications, go back and listen to that. We won't make him do that again, but I do have somebody asking right now about the injury update. Now, we've done that already, but go ahead and do that again for us, for the folks that are listening.
All right, so we only had 4 injuries during the tornado. There was only 4 injuries. They were minor. Robertson County EMS did transport to a local hospital, but there again, only minor.
Very good.
No casualty, no fatality,
So
nothing of that sort.
So there you go, Tom. That was somebody. Tom Rawls was asking about the injury update. Everybody's going to be just fine. I do have a question too from Lee Marie, our producer that set this interview up with you. Said, is there any kind of a something that you would look at from an emergency management's point of old construction versus new construction and how it weathered the storm?
Yes. So the area. Well, let's talk about the residential first.
Okay.
Because we're talking about two types of different construction. We got the residential side of it, and then we have, your business side of it, brick and mortar, if you will. So let's address the residential. The area that was affected, those homes were probably built late 60s, early 70s, my best guess. I've never been in the contracting home building business, but with being in the fire service and being around a lot of homes of different type construction, probably late 60s, early 70s, those homes were built. Those homes back then were built with true 2x4 construction, if you will, not like the 2x4s we have now. Also, now you have what they call roof. It's truss construction. Your roofing is truss construction. Back then, it was a rafter style. It didn't have the gusset plates that were holding it. It was more nailed in. I guess that those year homes are a little bit more sturdier. Yes, houses today are built very well, very solid. I'm not knocking that. They're built very well, very solid. It's just more lightweight construction than it was back then.
Right.
And
that might be it. Like I said, I'm going to try to get Trent Cobb in here on Wednesday just to kind of give us what the Fair Board did, and he, being a contractor, could maybe speak to that too. Because now, when you really look at that when we looked at Mayfield, our downtown square was wiped out. That was old construction.
Right.
Our historic district was wiped out. Again, those were old construction buildings. The building that stood was a bank that we were all impressed with, that we know the builders on it. And my brother could speak a little bit better to that because he mentioned that the difference in construction, and you can construct things that will come near weather in the storm, just like our post office downtown.
Right.
I don't know if you could blow that thing over. That's a beast, and in this bank that was on the downtown square in Mayfield was kind of the same kind of thing. It was so built in such a way that it didn't phase it.
Right.
And, the construction though, when they come through, a big enough tornado can knock down just about anything, y'all. That's right. And, cause it took out all those old buildings. It was, all the historic buildings and the historic homes in Mayfield, were just flattened. So there is a big enough tornado that can take out just about anything. But yes, construction, I think, does make a difference, as we saw in Mayfield with that bank. But, We'll maybe ask Trent. That might be a more fair question for him as a contractor. But anything that you think, let's just kind of, is there anything that we haven't addressed that you think we need to let people know? We've covered a lot. And if you've share this and let people listen to it. And we did get the line feed going for WSGI. So you do have a good audio feed. And remember, this is, we're 1100 WSGI on the dial. You can listen to it live, and we're just going to keep going back through this until 8:00. Anything that we may have said, we may say again, just to kind of recap for those that are just joining us. But we're talking with our emergency management director, Chance Holmes, here in Robertson County, and about all the things that are going on. Director of Schools, our new Director of Schools, Dr. Weeks, is scheduled to be on tomorrow. They do have the school board meeting tonight, which I'm assuming is still on. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm assuming that will still be on tonight. So kind of keep that in mind and expect to hear from them. Also, too, let me go back to the original question. Do you have anything that we haven't covered you think we need to cover?
Yeah, I was sitting here looking at my notes, and we discussed the debris removal.
Which again, let's reiterate that.
Okay, let's because that is very important. So for the affected area, Robertson County Emergency Management Agency's Facebook page, City of Springfield's Facebook page, and their official website all has shared the information on how the debris removal process is going to happen on Wednesday and Thursday is the pickup days for the brush and trees, the aluminum, the steel, the brick and mortar. It describes how to set it out by the road, how to have it separated. It'll talk about, that they're coming by to pick it up Wednesday and Thursday. So there will be congestion in the neighborhood with tandem axle, triaxle dump trucks, boom trucks, the claw trucks, if you will. So today and tomorrow we're asking, citizens to, I know as of yesterday, they were, carrying a lot of stuff up to the road. Just letting them know, hey, continue doing that. Wednesday and Thursdays, the pickup days. So that's kind of important. So reach out on that social media site so they can get that flyer. Also, and I forgot about that till now, also people with the City of Springfield will be going door to door with a copy of the flyer, if you will. So that way no home is left unturned. No one's left behind. Because, not everybody has an outlet to be able to maybe view social media, So there will be folks from the City of Springfield taking those flyers to door-to-door residences as well. So everybody will be on the same page.
Well, and I found the post, and I have shared it on my social media page. And so that way you'll have that to look at. But also, too, you had mentioned that today is a very good day if you're a volunteer and you want to go out and you want to help.
Yeah.
Just knock on these doors and say, what can I do to help you? Now, let's say that you're somebody that nobody's knocked on your door.
Right.
And you've got a tree down in your yard and you're just not able to do it. Is there a place that they can reach out for help?
I do not have that at that time.
Okay.
I can get that answer, and
maybe send it to me, and I'll put it up on social media.
I sure can.
And I'll just say to you, reach out to the churches in the area, because that's who I saw activated yesterday. So many churches did not meet. I know up in where I attend, we had no power until the last minute, and so they ended up. It was just a lot of things weren't working yesterday. So I saw a lot of churches go out into the communities, and if you will call a church, I can almost guarantee you, and maybe call 2 or 3 of them, but somebody will come and assist you. And I just know how the volunteers around here work. I mean, you've got a lot of times people that just are frustrated because they don't get to help. People want to get out and they want to get their hands dirty, and if there's nothing to do. So I really feel like this will get done quickly. But if you're somebody that needs some help, just don't be shy. Reach out to some of the churches around the area that I know we'll be, getting a lot done. And I'm sure from a city perspective too. I just think about some of these massive trees and stuff. Do we have any just massive trees that you've noticed that are down? I'm sure.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Down around Brent Lawn.
Yeah.
The road over from it. Yeah, there are some massive trees.
That's
that
a
are
lot of
down.
work.
A lot.
That's a lot of work. Got a good chainsaw? If you're able, get on out there. Help cut those things up. Any other thing that you think we haven't mentioned yet, Director?
Well, the TriStar Northcrest Hospital, it was on backup generator for a little bit, but it was never affected.
Right.
There was nothing there affected there. So as far as continuation of care for the community, and it was always never impacted at all. Like I said, I'm looking at my notes, and it looks like we've covered everything from the minor injuries to what time the tornado hit and the area in which it did. We talked about the debris management. We talked about the volunteer assistance there today and tomorrow. We talked about the power outages and kind of where we are. We talked about roadblocks,
Right.
now, and just a little supplemental information, Wednesday and Thursday when they're picking up the debris, there might be some intermittent roads that might pop up to be closed.
Right.
But it's intermittent. It would not be during the bus route hours for your school buses. So,
We are in school today.
Right. We are in school today. I was in contact with the director of transportation, Josh Heinerman, yesterday. And, he said he had been in talks with Dr. Weeks, and as far as like, hey, how's the roads looking? We're doing a road route assessment now, but how's it looking from your vantage point? And, I advised him that everything, like I'd asked the city manager, Ryan Martin, how was things looking too? And he's like, hey, we've just cleared up our last road. We just cleared up. So they went ahead and they said, at the bus driver's discretion.
Sure.
But there was no hiccups. Everything went well. Like you said, school opened on time today. So,
yep. And everybody's like, why are we going to school? Well, because there's no reason not to.
Right.
There really isn't. Now, let me ask you this. You mentioned the tobacco.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. What happened there? The tobacco warehouse, what building was it? Because my husband mentioned it to me and I had not heard that. Right. What happened there?
Well, when the tornado crossed over from,
from behind Kroger.
So it is still on the ground behind Kroger. So you have the Burley stabilization, which is a tobacco warehouse.
Yeah.
Okay. So it got hit, it just folded the building in.
Yeah. It's a metal building.
Right.
Yeah.
There's another tobacco warehouse. I can't think of its name right off the top of my head. It got hit. Springfield Fire Station 2 got hit. It damaged it. It done a lot of damage there, as well as the other locations. And from what I just saw a whole bunch of boxes inside the Burley stabilization. That just tells me, obviously, there's got to be tobacco.
Oh yeah.
Packaged in them boxes. But it did do some devastating damage. Just like ripped roofs off, implode walls, collapse, stuff like that.
Well, and from an agricultural perspective, one of the things up in Mayfield that really devastated the area was our grain, our grain facility where the grain is delivered, and it was devastated. So that can have an impact agriculturally, and that's something to look at. So I was kind of curious about that from a farm perspective. What's that going to mean to our tobacco farmers?
Right, and I too think that. I don't have that answer.
Right,
but when I saw those boxes, I'm thinking that's got to be compressed tobacco inside inside those boxes, and what type of law, I don't know the regulatory authority that says, okay, that tobacco's no good, or that's salvageable, or that can be used for a lesser graded product. I don't have those answers, so I don't know if it's all write off, or if it's all just no longer good. I don't know.
I'll just kind of put a bug in Trent Cobb's ear again. He's got his ear to the ground and knows a lot of agricultural people.
Good.
So I need you, Trent, on Wednesday, if possible, to come in and talk about the Fair Board's involvement, talk about what you know from the community perspective. And if you can answer that farm question too from the Burley floor, I don't know if he's listening or not. He's like, okay, Lavern, I'm taking he may not even be available. But anyway, we'll see if we can't get him in here. I need to go ahead and do a break. And what I'd like to do when we come back from my break is if you could recap the timeline for everybody. We did that very early on when we were still trying to get the cameras in studio to work. And so if you don't mind recapping that timeline for everybody, just as we did when we first sat down. But I do need to go ahead and talk about one of our wonderful sponsors that makes this program possible, Barry and Rebecca Richards with the Exit Realty Garden Gate team. One of our longest sponsors that we've had here at One Street Over, and we're so thankful. We can't do this without you. So we appreciate them so much. And if you want to talk to somebody that's a marketer in real estate, Barry, if you go Barry Richards Exit Realty Garden Gate team, you're going to get a unique website. He and his wife, of course, they both work together, but they are independent agents. He's actually the broker here in Springfield, has a Springfield office. But when his Facebook page pops up, you're going to find out about his marketing background and the uniqueness that he brings to the table when it comes to real estate, when making sure your property is seen in the best light, from photography, videography, the walkthrough tours, the 360-degree walkthrough tours, the drone footage that he can do. He comes out and helps me a lot with my audio video program that we're doing up in Greenbrier. And they're just so involved in the community. The cool videos that you see at Open Door Pregnancy and Resource Center, he does those every year. And just love what they do and love how they love this area. They are Cross Plainians. They are up in Cross Plains, and so they focus on Robertson County. They specialize in Robertson County properties, but also buy and sell in the surrounding counties and across the state line in Kentucky. Barry's office is here in Springfield. Rebecca's office is up in White House. So if you Google Barry Richards Exit Realty Garden Gate Team, you're going to get his page. If you Google Rebecca Richards Exit Realty Garden Gate Team, you're going to get her page. Again, it's concentrated over in White House. And you are going to find out all you need to know about two very capable, good friends of this program, real estate agents that can help you whether you're buying or selling, whatever it is you need to know. They are here to help you. Again, check them out at sellwithbecky.com, sellwithbecky.com, or buy, BUY, robertsoncounty.com. And please always let them know that U-Turn sent you. And getting back to our show, we're talking with the Emergency Management Director, Chance Holmes. He is here to just talk about all the things we need to be aware of here in our county. But as we did at the very first, if you would just recap the timeline for how things went down here in Robertson County for people that may just be joining us.
Yes, ma'am. Well, you can tell it's close to 8 o'clock because my county phone is blowing up with texts and phone calls about what we've got to do today. So during your commercial, I'm texting them where I'm at, what I've got going, and I'll be in touch in a minute. So to give you a recap timeline, on December the 9th, around 4:35 p.m., tornado hit the southern end of Springfield around the Kroger, Bill Jones industrial area. Of course, Circle Drive, Rudolph, and Skyview areas as well. We only had 4 minor injuries that were reported requiring transport by EMS. No reported fatalities. Currently all roads are open, but with the potential of changes as crews do the cleanup area. So right now, everything's open. We do have that one lane only in front of Kroger's.
Is that one way in each direction?
Each direction, yes. Okay. One lane each direction. We talked about as far as if volunteers wanted to help today and tomorrow, they can show up in the affected area, talk to a homeowner, knock on a door, talk to them. We talked about the debris management and how that's going to work and the flyer that you shared on your page, which thank you very much for doing that. Absolutely. We appreciate that. Then going door to door, with the flyers to the residents in the area. You had mentioned, and I didn't get to have a chance to chime in on that. You had mentioned about the Fair Board feeding everybody. I ate breakfast there yesterday morning. Not familiar with Trent Cobb, but Chad Gregory was my point of contact, which Chief Gregory with North Robertson Fire Department, who was with us the night of the tornado. He called and was like, "Look, linemen, sheriff's officers, EMS, anybody, come down, get a hot breakfast." Yesterday, myself, my staff, and crew, we did not get to sit down to eat until 3:20 yesterday afternoon. That hot meal that the Fair Board Association provided to us, promise you, gave me the nourishment I needed till I could get to my next meal. And I really want to tell Chief Gregory that that was very nice of them to open their doors up and do that. And a matter of fact, they started feeding again this morning at 6:30, going until
Yeah, that's wonderful. And that's one thing I saw. Trent just is a good friend of mine, but he had put up too how many in the community brought food and made it happen.
Right.
And I mean, there was just a plethora of people. Once they knew what that was happening, they just started coming and taking care of it. And so I just appreciate so much them facilitating that. And what a great facility we have there to do that, to facilitate that. Dan Hodger is on here saying, have you mentioned volunteers can help? You just mentioned just knock on a door, but now Tiffany Thompson with United Way is putting up crisiscleanup.org. Crisiscleanup.org is a place maybe you can check in and see what's going on. So that's, again, from United Way, crisiscleanup.org. There's going to be all kinds of folks out there, guys, that want to help, and we'll be sad if you don't let them. I have been in situations where I've been with volunteers, especially young people. They want to go out and they want to. You get something when you pour into others, and everybody knows that. So there's going to be folks knocking on your door, and if for some reason you didn't get that knock on the door, maybe reach out to Crisis Cleanup and say, hey, I need some help. That might be a way to do it. And I think if United Way, I know Tiffany is real good about connecting to all the nonprofits there at United Way, Tiffany and Brian, and they're here once a week to just kind of update us on all that activity. So we've got just a few minutes. I know you need to get back to work. Anything else that you need to say? I'm done with my sponsors. So.
Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. That's like I said. The county phone's already blowing up with phone calls, texts, and email come in. Everybody's wanting to know, hey, where are we going from here? So I've got to get from here to the office, and then matter of fact, I also have the National Weather Service coming in to do the survey to kind of figure out, what size tornado did we have, so gotta escort them. The director of the county landfills done called. The director of public works for the city's called. So I need to get on with what I got going on. Well, and
we'll just go ahead and get ready to end it there. I was trying to think of the young man that got the video of it hitting Valvoline. I can't get it to pop up on my email right now, but on my social media. Be careful, guys, when this stuff happens. I know everybody's like, gets those phones out and does all that. Oh, my goodness, be careful. And I think he just accidentally was in the area and took a quick video and then got to safety. But my goodness, guys, please be careful. Some of this evidence, the cameras like the TDOT SmartWay cameras in Nashville and the things that they caught is breathtaking, guys. We here in Robertson County, we're blessed. We were protected, and we do appreciate our emergency responders. Thank you so much. I know you got another long day ahead of you.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So, folks, I'm going to just end it there and just say, join us tomorrow. Remember, I'm assuming that the school board meeting is going to happen tonight. I haven't heard anything to the contrary. We are in school. Schools are open. I think everybody knows that by now. I'm going to be headed that way. Right there on 41, you got one lane in each direction. I haven't heard if you have anything information about when Kroger is going to reopen. Do you know anything about that?
No, ma'am, I do not.
I haven't heard anything about that because their parking lot was damaged, but I imagine the store on the inside is just fine. So I imagine they'll probably get back up and running here pretty quick. As far as what we've got going tomorrow, the new director of schools, Dr. Weeks, is scheduled to come in tomorrow. So we are expecting him, and we'll see if we can't get somebody like Trent Cobb or somebody that was out there with the volunteers on Wednesday to come in on Wednesday and give us an update there, and maybe kind of speak to the construction and what is best to hold up during a storm. We appreciate you joining us here on 1100 WSGI. Thank you again to I'm kind of killing time here. I've got a couple of minutes here before we need to completely shut down. But just a reminder again that debris removal, I think that's probably the next phase. I put up a post about how to do that. You can go to the City of Springfield and also to what is the emergency management call exactly for the Facebook? What does it say?
County Emergency Management Agency.
Robertson County Emergency Management Agency. Check in there and just stay up to date on everything going on. And again, if you see any of our first responders, our folks that are out there restoring power and taking care of it, give them a big hug and tell them thank you. And say your prayers for all those that are continuing to deal with the effects of the storm and got to pick up the pieces now and try to get back to normal right here at Christmas too. Just be mindful of all of those things. And again, we appreciate you. Thank you for joining us here at 1100 WSGI. God bless. Have a wonderful day.